Some House Democrats tonight are threatening a government shutdown if the Republicans try to move on a bill to repeal and replace Obamacare this week. House Speaker Paul Ryan won't commit to a timeline, but a vote may still happen, we're told. To bring us right up to date, joining me now is Congressman Jim Jordan, a member of the Freedom Caucus, serving on both the Judiciary and Oversight Committees. Congressman, I know you've got a lot going. The entire 435 of you have a lot going tonight. Let's start with first the repeal and replacement effort that is a way forward on health care reform. Where does it stand?
Well, hopefully we'll get the vote soon, but I think it's interesting. The Democrats, they not only want to make sure Obamacare in its entirety stays as a burden on the American people, they also want to shut down the government to make sure that happens, that they can continue to have Obamacare. It makes no sense to me. We think the bill is moving in the right direction. As you know, the vast majority of the Freedom Caucus now supports the legislation with this waiver option, which we think if states take that option, we think premiums will come down. And we can begin to fully repeal. This doesn't fully do it, but we can begin to repeal Obamacare. And we think it's the best bill we can get out of the House right now, but we got more work to do later. So hopefully the vote will happen, and hopefully it will happen as soon as possible.
Well, you've been consistent throughout saying that you ought to be doing what you were elected to do, and one of those promises certainly, and by the way, on the part of the president as well, is to move those premiums down in cost. Yep. As well as try to control the cost of health care itself. I want to turn then to the Rules Committee, to the prospect here. You all control the House, as we've discussed, and we all know full well. The Republicans control the Senate and the White House, and yet it seems as though the Democrats are the ones calling shots whenever the pressure builds to this point. That is, the actual passage of legislation and advancing an agenda. Yep. Is there any way in which the Republican Party can respond that will make the American people pleased, convinced, and persuaded that they are in charge?
Yeah, it comes back to the basics. Do what we told them we were going to do. Do what they elected us to do. Do what they sent us here to do. And that means, on this spending bill, by the way, that means standing up and getting done the things we told them we were going to accomplish. Remember what we did, Lou? Last fall, after the election, we did a short-term spending deal because we wanted this very moment. We wanted to wait until we had the White House. We controlled the House and the Senate, so we said, let's wait till President Trump is sworn in and inauguration happens and in office, so we can deal with the border wall funding. We can deal with the things that we campaigned on.
And then your speaker
of course
says
we have to.
And then your speaker says there's not going to be a border wall appropriation. We've got a real contest over the shutdown, but as it stands right now, and I'd like to get your reading on this, the shutdown has been, at least it appears, avoided, and tax reform is suddenly a possibility. Am I correct in those statements? Well,
we hope the Democrats won't shut down the government. We should use this opportunity to do what we told the voters we were going to do, what they sent us here to accomplish. And certainly we should be working on the tax reform legislation that is needed for a broken tax code and a tax code that makes no sense when you're trying to create an environment conducive to economic growth. So let's all those things need to happen because that's what we told the voters we were going to do when they elected us.
And the president taking the lead on tax reform?
Yeah, it's a good. What they rolled out yesterday was good. I always say, Lou, think about this: any tax code on the personal side, which says to half the population, you don't have to participate in the main tax, is broken. Any tax code on the corporate side, which says to American companies, you're going to pay the highest rate in the world, is stupid. So if you have a tax code that's both broken and stupid, you might want to change it. So let's change our tax code. And let's do it in a way, though, that says let's let families keep more of their hard-earned money to spend on their goals and dreams. And let's create a tax code that's conducive to economic growth. Let's not operate in this revenue-neutral framework that's been talked about. Because you know what revenue neutral means? That's a fancy way of saying that the tax burden is going to stay the same, but we're going to reshuffle who pays what. And normally that means the connected class gets a special deal and middle-class families get a raw deal. So let's not focus on that. Let's focus on letting families keep their money, more of what they've earned, and creating a framework where we can grow our economy, which hasn't happened the last 8 years. You
know, we're out of time, but as usual, I've got something else to say. I recall too vividly the people who've tried to say revenue neutral means the same thing as a spending reduction on the part of the federal government. It is the craziest thing. And by the way,
Yep.
so those people that were saying that were conservatives over the years. So it's great to hear you point out the reality, the truth, as always. And good luck over the weekend and beyond as you take on these issues. By the way, are you taking over the Oversight Committee?
Well, I'm focused on these issues that we just talked about. That's Chairman Chaffetz is still chair of that wonderful committee. I enjoy serving there. That's a decision for down the line. Right now, we got to get done what we've been talking about here.